2020's gone. We're
Now we
in
got 2021.
2021. I think it's
Woo!
gonna be a good year. I think it's gonna be. I honestly, all of the shit that happened in 2020, overall, it's like 2020 was like a bad trip. It's like you,
It
you
just
go
lasted an entire fucking year.
you go through it all, and you're just like, God, is this ever gonna end? Like
And
I'm
then
being
you reach
confronted with
another
all of my
fucking
inner
peak,
demons, and then
right?
and then you come out of it, and you're like, oh, I learned a thing or two. It wasn't totally bad. Yeah, it was a bad experience, but it was also a learning experience. That's how I view 2020.
I can see that.
It was
That's a
bad
good
for
thing.
everyone, but but there were lessons to be learned, and I think a lot of people learned those. Some probably
I think so
didn't, but
too.
you
And the
know,
way I look at it every day is, as I get older, life is a blessing. It really fucking is. However you want to look at it, whether you're religious, not religious, I don't give a fuck.
how
Wake me
unlikely is your existence?
exactly, and that goes into play. And so every day I wake up, I try to thank the sun for each morning. I thank the moon each night, and it's because those are the two things that really, really end up keeping me alive.
You're starting to sound
Essentially.
more like a hippie than I am. Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome to Blasphemous Reviews. I'm Jake.
I'm KJ.
Hey, I hope you guys had a great new year. Thank you for watching our Matrix episode and our Christmas special as well. We're kind of getting to the groove of this video thing. We're still doing all of our audio. So, all of you guys listening to our audio, thank you as well. Much love. Um,
Very,
y-
very much so. All love. I want all of it.
that's all we want with 2021 is love.
I don't think we're
This,
gonna get it though. I think we're still so divided.
I
You know,
think, I think you're right, but also I think a lot of people are done with the dumb shit,
Are
and
you think people are woke, as the kids say? Are you think people are getting woke?
yeah, kind of.
I feel
Um,
that.
but also I think there's equally as many woke people. I look at it like imagine if it's like a flat line, right? And this is just like the center where everybody normally is.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got, let's just say you got your woke people up here,
Right.
more and more woke people. But to keep the balance, there has
Mm-hmm.
to be more and more dumb people. So
We're just always gonna have it. I think it's always just gonna be that divided until like what's it called? That people have been preparing for or have said they've prepared for is like civil war. Is that what it is?
well, for me personally, I think it's more so going to be an economic collapse and less of a like civil or revolutionary war or anything like that.
That's what I yes, revolutionary. Yes.
Revolution.
I don't
Say you want a
I don't
revolution.
think we're gonna have that. I just I feel that like
I think we
we're
will
having
eventually,
so
but
many
not yet.
right. I think that we have, like you said, we're getting those woke people. I think we're starting to have a lot more than normal. And I think that the woke people are I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm fucking old and I don't even make it sound right. The people that are just, I don't know, using their fucking brain. I think that there's more
Critical
people.
thinkers.
Thank you. Critical thinkers like myself and Jake and other woke people are honestly, I think there's more of them and they're weaning out the people that are not so woke or asleep.
Right, right.
That's how I mean. I'm saying it. It's funny to me how I'm saying it, but I'm serious. Like, I think that we have more people that are critical thinkers, and I think that we're getting stronger with that, or greater in numbers, and we're getting more and more numbers of critical thinkers.
I like I said, I think there's a growth in critical thinkers. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, a growth in dumb people. Everybody used to be middle of the line where they're like kind of woke, but like, they're just comfortable with life. And now you got people who call you a sheep for wearing a mask, right?
Right.
They're like, the
Oh.
government's controlling you, and I'm like, you have a social security number and pay
You have a
taxes,
cell
and
phone. You fucking stop at stop signs. You're being controlled blatantly, like we are fucking being controlled with these so-called masks. If
right. That's
anybody
that's
like
what blows me away.
it gets me so fucking pissed. They don't even think about that shit. What they do, or like, yeah, the social security number. You're literally a barcode when you're born.
Right, you are
You're
assigned a
literally a
number,
fucking
bro.
barcode.
They own you.
It's, it's aggravating to think about that, or that we stress out. Like for you, for example, that you're a prime example of working in the food industry,
Right.
something that's actually struggling and declining every single fucking day. And it's a blessing that you have a job.
Blessing on us because we are doing just as good as we were before all of this.
Right, but you're
That's
also
good
taking the
and bad
precaution. Right, it
because we're
is.
taking the precaution, but at the same time, there's things are getting back to the point where people are not caring about going out with groups of people. I mean, we have people walk into our door with groups of 12, 15 people on the regular.
Right.
I mean, we have to split them up, like,
Well,
because
they should
we have
they
to.
should
We
also
can't
use their
seat
common sense.
more. We can't seat more than 8 to 10 at a table.
And that still blows my mind. You shouldn't even have 8 to fucking
You
10.
shouldn't
But I
have
get
a.
it.
You shouldn't be going out to eat with more than 2 or 3 people max.
Right. If you got a family of 4, I get that. Two
That's what I
parents, two
mean.
kids,
Right.
something like that. But like,
Yep.
if you exceed more than that, then don't go out. You have children, or not children. You have so many children, and like, regardless of what do they say? The number is like 12 people that you can be around or hang out with, or some goofy shit like that. Is that it?
Doesn't
Something
matter.
like
It
that?
doesn't matter.
No, I
I
know it
mean,
doesn't matter, but but isn't
they don't
that the
want people
number?
gathering in groups larger than 10. That's why. That's at
Larger
least
than 10.
at
Okay,
least
so
in Ohio. That's how it is.
well,
That's
that's
why
the point I'm
we
trying to
can't
make.
seat
Nobody
people.
follows that fucking law. Nobody follows that rule. Nobody follows shit. And it's so aggravating because, again, in the middle of a global pandemic through 2020, the entire fucking 2020, and we have people that are still so stupid thinking that this is not a big deal. Science has proven it, but you fucking sit here and try to debunk it. There's nothing to debunk.
Well,
And they try to bring back the fucking play of like, oh, well, we had fucking swine flu and we survived that shit. Well, people are still dying from the fucking flu, you dumbass, just not in as great numbers as coronavirus.
here's
It's
here's
so
what
fucking stupid.
here's
Go
what I
ahead.
think is happening. I think these people have been convinced that they are speaking out for American freedom. You know what I mean? They have this idea
Mm-hmm.
of how, this intense nationalism where they have to support American ideologies. And to them, fucking off the government is one of those ideologies. But in reality, like, they are the most dick sucking, government sucking people I've ever met in my whole life, honestly.
Right. They'll
Then
swallow for the goddamn politician before they
you
do
know,
anything else. Mm-hmm.
swear, bro. Loyalty to party only.
When
And
they literally nobody in that fucking suit or in that fucking power of position will give a fuck about the poor man or the man that cares so goddamn much about them.
right. It's
You know what I'm
it's
saying? Like
and
they don't give a fuck about us,
that they've been convinced that they're doing the right thing.
and that they're on their side
They're
because they say,
right.
ugh, "Fuck Fox News."
But they're all suffering from mass delusion. Like, they have
That's the
these,
biggest thing.
and they feel as if, it's like delusions of grandeur. They believe they are like fighting some holy fight against the takeover of democracy by socialism. And it's like, bro, no, we're just moving away from a standard of living and a place where we don't need to rely on the government anymore.
Right.
I
Well, I
mean,
think
we
it's also
do, but we don't want to.
mhm,
And people are
right,
starting to like realize that. And it's just
100%. And going on a side note with that, it's like something, and I will keep bringing this up until one day you end up getting one. But like on TikTok, there are so many people that are blatantly saying like, okay, so what's something that America has deemed, legal but feels illegal or something like that, or feels odd to you? I think I'm probably wording it incorrectly, but they talk about like, car insurance, they talk about the healthcare system, they talk about fucking the government, they talk about just being a human in this fucking world. So much stuff, and like it's stuff that I would deem myself crazy to talk about, and I would just hide in the shadows. But it's like it's so refreshing to see other people understand where I'm coming from, and it makes me feel a hell of a lot less crazy.
Right.
Because like
There are more
insure
people starting to follow
open up.
that follow that
Hmm.
train of thought, yeah.
I agree. Like, for example, the one that I watched today was car insurance. This makes no logical
Fucking
sense to
scam,
me.
bro.
Scam as fuck. You know why? You sit here and you pay a fucking insurance month to goddamn month. Okay? You get into a wreck, you're paying a deductible. Why the fuck am I paying a deductible? Bitch, take it off of the fucking months of fucking
Exactly.
payments I gave you
You
instead of
mean
me paying $1,000 or a $500 deductible. And then if it's my fault, you want to raise my fucking insurance. Or if it's not my fault, you still raise my fucking insurance.
and here's the thing, you are legally required to have it.
Right. It make
No.
scam.
Yeah, yeah.
Biggest scam.
You pay, let's just say you pay $150 a month in insurance, and you
Right.
own that car for 3 years before you have an accident. Do the math on that, and think about how much that repair costs, and then compare that to the cost of the insurance that you've paid the whole time that you've been paying for that car. It's probably going to
Exactly.
be 3, 4 times the amount of the repair, and you don't ever see a dime of that money back. I
Nope.
think I think you should pay insurance monthly, and if whatever, let's say every 3 months, something like that. If you don't get into an accident, and those funds that you're paying insurance for don't have to go towards any repairs or anything like that, then you should get that money in a rebate.
Some form, because I understand insurance companies, the money that we're paying, it's for the insurancers or whatever you want to call them, employees. They have to live, they got to eat their ramen noodles and everything else too. I get
But
that, but that's also not where it's fucking going. That's not where my insurance money's going.
no, well, the problem is here's a big thing. Insurance companies, whatever, big companies, all around the board. Um, their business model is based upon infinite growth, right? All businesses, especially larger businesses, essentially set up the way the company operates on future profits, right? They get investments and funding for the hopes that they profit, and usually they do. And the thing is so they build this entire business model on this company infinitely growing, always having a bigger profit than the year before. And
Right.
to keep up with that, and to keep paying all these employees that are really arbitrarily kept around anyway, because they're working for a system that is going to eventually meet its endpoint. Like there's no, so there's no, we're paying all this overhead, pay employees and pay investors into the company that are just betting on future profits, and that's who says there's always going to be future profits? Why, you know what I mean? Why do these
Right.
companies think and believe that they will infinitely grow?
Right.
There's not infinite resources, there's not infinite money. So why build a business on that? It's because they've been told that that's how you should do it, and therefore, everything's caught up into this cycle of buying and spending money on things that aren't even gonna be around anymore. And so,
Well,
like,
and you bringing that up, it's a fair point, because like, and it comes up with anything that I even think about, like, because of TikTok alone, I don't trust banks anymore. I don't trust fucking what else is it?
Banks are a big fucking scam too.
They are too. They are too. And I'm learning all this as I, get older, which I'm glad I'm learning now, because if I would have learned this as probably a younger man, I don't know if I would have given a shit. But like I learned
Well, they
banks.
wouldn't teach you as a younger man anyway. They don't teach you
Right.
that. They don't teach you that inherently these businesses are flawed when you're
Right.
in, take an economics class or a government class. You know what I mean? They
You want
don't.
to know another thing? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, go for it.
I'm riled up right now. So like
Fucking
even this,
spit it,
right,
bro.
the sleeping, the sleeping. What do you want to call it? The sleeping organization, sleeping system, sleeping business, whatever. The mattresses, all that they prone. It makes no fucking sense how they're in business too, because they're a billion-dollar conglomerate. You want to know why I'm saying this? Because humans are not supposed to sleep a full fucking 8 hours. They sleep like fucking. I don't know the type of word, but like we're supposed to sleep
Like
for a
micro
few
nap.
hours. That's it. Thank you. So
I don't know
you
if that's
sleep
the
for
right word or not, but
no, but you know what? It makes sense. You sleep for a few hours, you wake up, you do your thing, you do it again, and that's how you do it. You take like 4 hour intervals of naps. But we are so like forced to like, oh, you have to sleep 8 hours and you have to wake up and do like a 9 to 5. But let's be realistic, it's a fucking 8 to 6. And with that being
right, yeah.
said, yeah, with that being said, like you're sitting there and you can't sleep, so you're popping fucking melatonin down your throat, or you're popping sleeping pills because melatonin ain't working. It's a billion-dollar industry that's fucking
The
fucked up too.
pharmaceuticals, the
Yes, the farm.
pharmaceutical, bro. That's what's fucked. Is like,
Oh my god.
all right. So I have a buddy at work who's been through the healthcare system a lot because he has spine issues. He actually has a metal spine.
Oh wow.
Anyways,
He's a
so
fucking robot.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
dude who builds robots. The dude I
Oh,
was
is
telling
he?
you about. Yeah.
He's a robot and he builds them. That's fucking gnarly, dude.
Anyway,
All
so
right.
through the years of him having to deal with all of that, he's been prescribed so many things, for this and that and that, and like
Mm-hmm.
in reality, that all made him worse. Like one thing it made, you'd take one thing and you'd be dependent on that thing, but then it'd make this other thing worse. So you'd take this other thing
To make
to
that
fix
better.
that, and then you're dependent
Mm-hmm.
on that, but that makes something else work, and so you're three medications in that are all interacting together,
Mm-hmm. It's
destroying your body, honestly. But it's and then he stopped taking all of his medications and he started doing um all natural stuff with like CBD oils. He started doing things with um like silver water,
mm-hmm.
using that as like an antibacterial and like
It's
anti-inflammatory and
it's
like,
literally the natural things in life that will help you instead of all the unnatural man-made bullshit.
and he's
That's what I've
better
always
now than
believed.
he's,
Hmm.
you know, ever was.
And I
Ever
think that
was when
goes,
he was on all that shit.
and I 100% agree, and the only reason I agree so adamantly is because of one reason, and it goes back into an episode that we had. What was it? Death, Love, and Alan Jackson was the episode. Okay, and I remember us talking about what I did to cope when my family died. And that was a lot of meditation and a lot of walking. I
Right.
wasn't eating right, because I was still a fucking pothead, but I was doing enough meditation and enough walking that my mind got a hell of a lot better. When at the time before that, I was ready to feel like I needed anxiety medicine. I was ready to feel like I needed depressants. And I tried to go to the hospital and do that. But then I questioned myself and I gave myself a better answer. And I did something that was more natural. And I felt that meditation and walking changed my fucking life. It really did. And that goes back into your buddy with his spine and everything like that. You're pumped with so many fucking drugs. And like, if you go and watch a commercial about goddamn, I don't know, irritable bowel syndrome fucking medicine, you're going to hear at least 35 to 50 fucking words on what can fuck you up from it if you take it.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, or not words, but side effects. What
Right.
side
Yeah.
effects
Yeah.
could happen if you take it? But I hate it so much that we are so prone to this, because I'll put it this way. I believe personally, even though when we're trying to be smart, we're still stupid apes. And the government sees that, and they fucking wrap their arms around that as quick as they can, and they try to keep us stupid.
Well, I
That's what I
mean, here's the thing: is like you can look up all these declassified documents about different projects and experiments that just the U.S. alone has done to understand the way humans operate, right? And
Right.
um, a lot of people just want to say like if I mention MK Ultra, people are like, "Oh, you conspiracy nut." MK Ultra
Mm,
is real, obviously, and you can't necessarily deny that the programming existed, but people don't want to understand that the reason that that programming existed was because they were trying to learn how to manipulate mass populations
right.
through psychology. You don't think that they learned anything and are
Mm-hmm.
using any of that information? You don't think these companies like Facebook, Twitter, these huge banks, you don't think that they hire psychologists and social psychologists to understand how to manipulate their product, to manipulate the psyche of the people who are buying those said
Exactly.
products? Like,
Exactly. It's just like
and
colors. Just like
yeah,
fucking
colors.
colors.
Yeah, color theory.
Yep.
Color theory is a big
Hmm.
thing. Like that you
For
consciously don't
example.
know that these colors have an effect on the way that you perceive what you're
Hmm.
seeing, but subconsciously they do, you know?
Right. Like for example, prime example of that. And it's just because, this is the first one in my head. Yellow and red. Yellow and red are colors that make you hungry. What's yellow and red? Mick fucking Donald's. Those two colors
Big
together
fucking
in your
Donald.
brain. Yep. It's just those are two that I know very well. I think that's why I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, like
No,
definitely
like I mean, everything, anything and everything that these companies can use to manipulate the people, they're going to use and have been using. And I just don't understand how you can look at somebody who says that phrase and just write them off as some crazy conspiracy theorist. It's like, no,
agreed.
that's real information that's
Hmm.
been happening for decades. Like, where have you
It's
been?
just
I think that's why a lot of the older generations don't necessarily believe and see this because they were the initial lab rats of all this shit back in the 50s and
or do you
60s. You
think
know what
that
I
they
mean?
just put it in their mind and they just try to put it in the back? Like I feel that some of those people that are
Yeah.
deniers so badly, I feel that they believe it, but they want to be a denier. They'd rather deny that
They're
it's
too
real.
comfortable with with the life that they live rather than
Right.
face the questions of whether or not they've been used and manipulated by their own
Or
government
the
and
famous question that I
corporations.
feel is for anything: what if? What if?
Yeah.
Like another prime example of beliefs of anything like that or where you feel crazy is aliens. Okay. For years, I remember back in fucking fourth, people would say you're literally crazy. Back in '06, if you had somebody that believed in aliens, they'd be fucking considered kooks and you'd lock them the fuck up. Nowadays, we literally just got information released by the military or the government or whoever the fuck you want to say released the information to let us know that extraterrestrial life is real, that we have evidence of it. So it's like, it's been real for years, but it's like now, what do you deem those people as?
Right,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you deem them as?
And what do you
That's
got to
how I
say for
feel.
yourself if you have just been duped into believing what you've been told to believe?
Right.
The
Well,
truth is
that's
out
what.
there.
No, like
God, I
I
fucking
100%
love
agree.
X-Files.
I know you do, buddy. No, I,
Anyway,
I, I truly believe that 110 fucking percent fold over. Like, I never started questioning more than I ever did until this whole Trump thing. You know what I mean? I never, and it wasn't just learning about governments and politics more. It's questioning every fucking thing,
yeah. Question
everything.
question everything.
And so, I just don't
Trust
want to go
no
through.
one. Well,
Dude, I don't know. I don't know about all that now.
I trust people.
But I still think that goes back into the play that I talked about, the Jim Carrey movie, The Truman Show, where I feel
Yeah.
that sometimes I'm in a television sitcom. Like I feel sometimes, and this is going crazy. I don't even think our episode meant to go this way, but like I feel blatantly like a sim sometimes. I feel like a
Yeah.
simulation. I really
All
do.
right.
I feel that
Yeah.
there's huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel that there's days where I'm blatantly like, okay, terrible day, right? Terrible fucking day. Worst day of ever. Somebody's controlling some kind of serotonin for me, and they end up releasing it with a song, or they release it with this or that. I just don't know. And I feel at the end of the day, we're in some form of a simulation. I don't know what the fuck it is. And I feel better saying that now in 2021 when people's questioning everything than what I probably when 2 or 3 years ago when I was having a mental breakdown, asking myself, what is life? Who is human? What is heart? What is hand? What is, you know what I'm saying? I was that person. I didn't know what the fuck it was. I thought I was crazy. But now I
No, I
realize
mean,
I'm not fucking crazy. And that
yeah.
everybody, and that's why I love the internet so much. I know that I'm
This
not alone.
is not what this is.
Right.
Like, we are not our bodies. We, the I, is just a self-manifesting clump of cells and energy that perceive information by light and sound and our sensories, and then process that and then project the world around us through our through our understanding. So in a way it's a
Okay.
simulation because the reality that we see and perceive around us is just a projection, a mental projection of the information that our senses take in.
Okay. See, I agree with that 100% because I also think about when I die, I've thought about, now I have many theories about what happens when I die. I thought about I'm going to be in a euphoria, where I'm going to see all my loved ones and I'm going to have big titties in my fucking face. I've thought about all kinds of stuff in my life. But the one thing I do think about too as a simulation is that I'm going to die and I'm going to wake up and I'm going to take off gloves. Or not gloves, but like what do you want to call it, a helmet, if you will. And it's like I was living some kind of life and then I go back into another world or
It's
into another
like
simulation.
so yeah, there's this episode of Rick and Morty where they go to this place called Blitz and Chips, um, and they play this like virtual reality game, uh, uh, called Roy. I think it's called Roy.
Okay.
Um, where they play the life of this guy named Roy, and they go in. They literally start from being born. They live the
Mm-hmm.
whole life. Um, and Morty plays first, and he like goes through life and like is a football star, and then like gets injured or something, and then buys a carpet store, and then runs a carpet store until the day he dies. He dies at the carpet store at old age, like, and he wakes up out of the game, and he's just like, "What? Where's my wife? Where's the carpet store?" He's like, and Rick's like, "You're Morty, like you're not Roy or whatever, like and
Right.
like." Morty believed, coming out of it because he experienced that whole life as Roy, he still had flashbacks of like playing that game.
I think
And
that show alone helped us not seem so fucking crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they did it in a nonchalant way to show like, hey, we're all questioning this crazy shit.
right, exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
And like
But go
so
ahead.
Rick gets on and he plays, and people around start like coming around. He's like, "Oh my god, this guy doesn't have a social security number for Roy. He's taking Roy off the grid."
Jesus. So they put some
It's
comedy into it. So there's a
yeah.
lot of emotion into that show, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
There's tender moments, tender
yeah,
hearted moments.
you know, I don't know. A lot of people like to shit on Rick and Morty because um some people are just like, oh, it's like pretends to be so woke or whatever. Like, I get that at times, but
Mm-hmm.
also there's times where it's just like the comedy is gold. It's there. It's like
Right.
pure like what's it called? Not kind of narcissistic, but also nihilistic, very nihilistic comedy. And that's
Okay.
like nihilism is like so big now in the way that we approach life. anymore, just because of we're just like, oh, what's the point of life? You know what I mean? That's like the whole, you know, you see all day long jokes about, memes about dying or,
Right.
killing yourself, but like jokes about it. You know what I mean? Like all
Hmm.
this like nihilistic viewpoints. So
Humor. Right.
right.
Well, what with that being said, like going into what do you call it? You were just saying something that caught me by surprise, and I can't fucking think of it now. Never mind.
Well,
We
you were
get this
you were
part.
talking about how sometimes you feel like you're gonna when you die that you're just gonna wake up and you're gonna be like taking off
Oh, I mean, like no,
the
I going
glasses and gloves and shit. You know.
going back into that, I still believe that, or at least a fraction of that, because
Right.
when you're alive and everything like that, like it's astronomical that you're even fucking here. You literally are one of like 1 billion. Okay, and that's
Yeah.
pretty fucking amazing. That means you were the tough little swimmer that made it. If you think about that, I mean, really think about that. 1 billion people, and you were that one that was made. You
Yeah.
know, it's so powerful to think about, even like that. So when you question life, or you question death, or you're morbid about it, I also think about that too. I think about like how, man, I'm still a fucking winner. I'm on this earth compared to a billion other people. I could have been in a fucking Kleenex napkin flushed down a goddamn toilet. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
There's there's a Papadosio song that they came out with in 2020 from their new album called Cubensis. All of the
Mm-hmm.
songs are named after different mushrooms, but Cubensis is a common term for the common uh, psilocybin mushroom, like boomers. Like what we took when we ate mushrooms.
Right,
Um,
right.
um, in that song though, there's a part that I think it's a quote from um I think it's a quote from Ram Dass. If
Okay,
you've ever heard about who that is.
maybe. Excuse me.
He says, if you quiet your mind and you pay attention, you will discover that um hold on. God. It's slipping my
On the tip of your
mind,
tongue.
but it's what you said. Oh yeah, he says if you quiet your mind and you pay attention, you will discover that you are supported and cared for by the dynamic of the universe.
I think
You
it's
can you can
easier.
see this by virtue of the fact that you're even alive. How unlikely is your existence?
It's very true.
I'd put it to pretty unlikely, and yet here you are.
Right.
That's the quote.
100%.
Which
Oh, okay. That's the quote. That's the
that's
entire
the
quote itself.
that's the entire quote. Yeah. So
Okay.
like you know how unlikely is it that you're even here alive on Earth? That these cells came together with this energy and consciousness that made you. In out of the vast universe, here you are. And he goes to say that you're supported and cared for by the universe by virtue of the fact that you're alive. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you being here proves that the universe supports your existence.
Right. 100%. Now
Yeah.
that's see, and when you put it that way, see, I like to think of it, and I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm anti-hippie, but I'm also going to say I'm a hippie for sure. But like I
You're
think
wearing
about
a
those things.
dead sweatshirt right now, bro.
Right, right. Ironic, isn't it? But no, let me make a reason as to why I say this, because like I'm not a fan of hallucinogenics too often. From a recent podcast we talked about, like I said, they only if they come to me, then I will take them. Until then, I don't go searching for them. So with that being said, when I hear things like that, they're very powerful. But I also like to raise the question: is that just some hippie unorthodox bullshit? That one obviously is not. But I think that way because as we were talking about earlier in the episode, regardless, I'm this fucking, pot smoking, love everybody hippie. I want to question, like, maybe the hippies are a little wrong sometimes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I don't just say that for hippies. I say that for anything. I want to question everything. But that's one reason I think I'm a hippie too. And I'm just, a pothead is because I want to question everything and I love everything. And I think that's the whole reason I am a hippie, So that's how I look at it.
Definition, defined.
Right. Like it's pretty goddamn accurate. That's how I look at it. So,
Yeah.
With that being said, I think that's what we're trying to get at with the beginning of this podcast, or the middle, or however you want to look at this. That is how 2020 has encapsulated myself. I have learned to raise more questions than I ever have in my 30 years of life now. I have never questioned more in my life until I was 29 years old.
Right.
Basically, President Trump, if he did anything for me at all, he started making me pay attention to the news more, raise questions, and learn for myself. And I love that so much because now I'm literally on my toes about everything.
I tried to make that point one time on Facebook with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up just getting called a Nazi pretty much, but I was just saying I'm glad that President Trump became president because it allowed this Pandora's box to open of all the shit that we've just been letting slide forever, all this shit that's been going on that nobody has really cared about trying to fix, all of a sudden came rushing to the forefront, and we're confronted with all of these things that we're scared to make changes about in the world. But at least we were confronted with them. And now they're out in the open. And now that they're out in the open, we can address them and move forward. Right? I mean, some of the best lessons are the hardest things that you've had to go through. And one of the hardest things we've had to go through has been this time frame that President Trump was president. Right? And because of that, we now have the opportunity to change all the things that came to the surface during this time. You know what I mean? So
I agree. And like, for example, this is obviously not something that I wanted, but it's something I think the world needed, especially Black people and the whole movement of Black Lives Matter. With that whole thing, gosh, I don't want to be this person, and I'm trying to remember, and I feel so disrespectful right now. It was George Wallace, correct? The one that got choked out. Do I have his name proper? Is that correct? Over $20 bill, and that's what started basically the whole movement of this shit.
George Floyd?
Why did I say George Wallace? Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
All right. I'm going to edit this whole chunk out because that's just disrespect.
We're leaving it in.
No. Okay. All right. So anyways, George Floyd. And I apologize immensely for forgetting his name. But anyways, when that happened and he had a knee on his neck for 7 minutes, that obviously is very hard to watch. And I highly recommend that anybody that hasn't watched that video, watch that video. If you don't feel any type of sadness, if you don't cry, if you don't feel claustrophobia, if you don't feel any of that, if you don't just feel true disrespect to a human being, then you have no fucking heart, you have no soul, you're racist to me, and don't listen to my podcast anymore. I'll be completely honest with you, go fuck yourself. But with that being said, I love that movement happened because Black people have been oppressed for so goddamn long. People sit here, and I'm going to say a minor bit of Trump supporters is what I'm just going to say. I'm just going to call it Trump supporters are the ones that make it worse and continuously worse. In this year, so much has happened. So much has happened for the Black community, just the world of communities, and like I'd rather be an ally at the end of the day, supporting people that are still oppressed in 2021 when they have no reason to be because of the color of their fucking skin. It hurts me and it rages me so hardcore, and it hurts me even more that I couldn't be out in the forefront being an ally, during those riots than being at home. But I support 110%. No. This fucking podcast supports Black Lives Matter. 110 fucking percent fold. I have a black brother that was adopted. I have 2 black nieces. Actually, 3. I apologize. Another one was just born last year. So with that being said, I will never, ever, never fucking stop supporting black people, black movements, anything like that. There's even going into this. There is a show that came on before the BLM movement, and it was with Killer Mike. I forget what it's called. It's gonna kill me right now. But it was Killer Mike's show. Think on it while I'm talking about it. But it was Killer Mike's show, and he literally showed you oppression, he showed you racism, he showed you the equality in the world, he showed you everything. He showed you that he tried, like, first episode was
trigger
an
warning.
eye-opener. Trigger warning with Killer Mike. Obviously a trigger warning for people. First episode he tries to support all black-owned businesses. He couldn't find a black-owned hotel, so he slept on the fucking street. He to eat, he went to a black-owned grocery store. Things of that nature. And so what he considered Black Friday from now on is, if you want to support black people on Fridays, every Friday, go to a black-owned business. Buy something from a black-owned business. You want to support, you want to be an ally, do that. And so I wish I could go more into this. And again, I feel bad. See, this is my human nature. I feel bad for saying George Wallace instead of George Floyd. So understand where my love is here. But anyways, I couldn't say more about how much I support Black Lives Matter, and I will never stop supporting it. I will never, ever stop supporting it. My brother, Jason, he was in the Army. He was a veteran. First boot camp he had in Lexington, Kentucky, he had a couple fucking racist rednecks decide to beat the shit out of him. Well, thankfully, he's a strong-ass boy, and he ain't fucking around with nobody, and he cracked all 3 of them motherfuckers in the face. Obviously, he got fucked up, but he stood his own. And it just shows, even as an American man fighting for your country, you're still dealing with prejudiced, racist pieces of shit in the fucking military.
Yep.
And
everywhere. Especially bad in places like that, because the military, police, things like that are prone to being, those people are prone to being conservatives and oftentimes racist. And sometimes
that makes actually complete sense.
Sometimes they're not. Well, I mean, fuck, dude. You're from Alabama. You grew up in a shithole town. You barely graduated high school. You're like, what am I going to do with my life? Well, I guess I'm going to join the military. And they've already been instilled with, racist ideas because their parents are from the 50s and the 40s and 50s.
Right.
In fucking that shithole town, Alabama, where those white people believe that black people should be slaves. Still.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's actually, I think it's in Alabama, you bringing that up, a TikTok where a gentleman had a Black Lives Matter poster in his hand at a Walmart. And there's all these racist fucking people literally breaking and stopping. He said, your fucking racist ass better be gone by the time I get back. Supporting them. They don't even support you. All this other crazy shit. And like, he was getting threats of all kinds. And it blows my fucking mind. And it's just
standing there with a piece of paper and ink on it. And they're scary. Being attacked. You know what I mean? It's
right. I'll never understand, because of my own color. I will never understand being oppressed. I'll never understand it in my life. I never even understood blatantly. I never understood I had white privilege until I looked online the definition of white privilege, and motherfucker, I got white privilege in my back goddamn pocket.
Right. Yeah.
I do. It ain't something I want. It's just, it is what it is.
Right.
So
yeah, it's fucked, man.
It's very fucked. And like,
but also at the same time, I will say, I'm glad that all of those things happened. Like I was saying about Trump, I'm glad that these things are now on the forefront in the open, so they can be addressed and fixed.
Well, that's why that's what I was bringing in with the whole George Floyd thing. That's why, maybe it took a fucking few burning buildings down. Maybe it took this and that. And if you go and look at
it ain't enough, but
no, it's not enough. the voices have been heard is the plus side, and I don't know how much farther it's going to go, but I support it again 100%. So
It's like what happened
that be,
here in what happened here in Columbus. I don't know if you saw about that. Um,
yes, I did actually. Was that the what the fuck was that? I can't think at the moment. I'm losing my train of thought.
um, his name. What's his name? Casey Goodson Jr.
Casey Goodson Jr.
He
Now,
was
was he
he
murdered?
was yes. Um, he was killed in a garage early in the morning on one day. It was 1:37 when the cops were called about somebody sitting in their SUV with the engine off inside of a garage with the garage door open. First of all, cops should have never even been called for that, but you know,
Secondly, when cops are called for that and somebody's just sitting there, first of all, we're in a pandemic, and I'm pretty
yeah,
sure it's gotten to the point to where calls like that, minuscule calls like that, are not answered.
yeah,
But go ahead. So he was in his garage. This
yep.
gentleman was in his car.
Um, the cops show up. He's out now outside of the car. The officer tells him to come towards him. He comes towards him. He has his cell phone in his left hand, and his right arm and shoulder are still not visible from behind the car. Um, the officer then draws his weapon and fires shots at him. And this is when the cop turned on his body cam. After um,
After he was put down,
yep,
basically like a
and
fucking dog in the street.
and yep, he
What was
died.
this gentleman's name again?
Um, Casey Goodson.
Well, I am at a loss for words for that one. That's another one that just happens, and it's unfortunate. And my heart and my love and my thoughts go out to his family. I am so sorry for that. And unfortunately, what's normal or what we take as normal is this is just one random one out of a random Tuesday type shit.
Right, yeah,
We live in such a world where, like, okay, it's Casey today. It's going to be fucking another one tomorrow. And it's
right,
so
yeah,
sad that it even happens. It's so sad. And the audacity, that man should be fucking obviously fired and probably thrown in jail. No, not probably, actually thrown in fucking jail. Because for one, he turns his body cam on after the shooting,
right.
after the fucking shooting.
Here's what I want to know. What
I'm at a
what
loss.
I just I don't what I think I mentioned this in the last episode. I don't understand the idea that a police officer can do that, show up to somebody's house, you know, can I start my own business where I carry a gun and a badge around and people call me to respond to situations? And
I wonder.
what here's no, let me put it to you this way. Let's say I did that. Somebody calls me about something and I show up. They say they call me for that exact scenario. I show up, I do the same thing. I would immediately be arrested and put on trial for murder. Immediately.
Right.
Yet
100%.
a police officer, because they're employed by the government, gets paid administrative leave. They
And a
don't
slap
get
on the wrist.
fired and a slap on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this goes back to the point of the people arguing that they don't want to be controlled by the government. Bitch, somebody has a license to show up at your door and shoot you and get away with it.
Blatantly.
That's how much you are controlled by the government. Is literally somebody can show up at your door and shoot you dead, and they won't even go to jail for it.
Right. Do you know what I think about too? I think about all the time, like how cops probably have minimal to no training on any kind of like psychological issues or things of that nature. Not only that, is like how to handle that differently. How would I have handled that fucking whole situation? If a gentleman has a fucking arm where his cell phone's in one and everything like that, obviously hands would be up. That's the first thing I'd fucking ask because I can't see anything else. Number two, if I had to draw something or I felt unsafe, I would draw my fucking taser. My taser that will shoot his ass too. That's what I would do. Because immediately when I saw something, I would fucking tase his ass.
Right.
You have to sit there and think before you go shooting people. And like that shouldn't even be a question or a thought or in my fucking mind or in anybody's mind. You shouldn't have to fucking when you see a black person and you are an officer of the law, the first thing in your fucking mind should not be, oh, he has a gun, oh, he's up to no good, oh, this and that, whatever. It should be, hey, this is an everyday Joe like you or me, wants to get home to his kids, probably fucking loves Naruto. I fucking love Naruto. We could probably be bros, but let's just fucking sit here and destroy this man because of the color of his skin. Completely change the way that his family probably feels about law enforcement because of the color of his fucking skin.
Yep.
Like, there's one thing that we don't have to fucking have, okay? And it's a conversation on how to talk to police. Black people have to have that conversation with their kids.
Right.
And that is such fucking bullshit. Yes, sir. No, sir. It ain't going to be a problem, officer. My hands are on 10 and 2. I'm not going to do nothing right here. I'm reaching for my license and only my license, sir.
Yes, master.
All that kind of fucking shit. It's such fucking bullshit. And that's the oppression right fucking there. That shows to a fucking T.
Right.
That's why George fucking Floyd had a goddamn knee to his neck for a legal $20 fucking bill. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's so stupid. So fucking stupid. 2020 in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, 2020's gone. We're in 2021. I think it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be, I honestly, all of the shit that happened in 2020, overall, it's like 2020 was like a bad trip. It's like,
it just lasted an entire fucking year.
You go through it all and you're just like, God, is this ever going to end? Like, and then being confronted with all of my inner demons. And then you come out of it and you're like, oh, I learned a thing or two. It wasn't totally bad. Yeah, it was a bad experience, but it was also a learning experience. That's how I view 2020.
I can see that.
It was bad for everyone, but there were lessons to be learned, and I think a lot of people learned those. Some probably didn't. So,
but, the way I look at it every day is, as I get older, life is a blessing. It really fucking is. However you want to look at it, whether you're religious, not religious, I don't give a fuck.
How unlikely is your existence?
Exactly. And that goes into play. And so every day I wake up, I try to thank the sun for each morning. I thank the moon each night. And it's because those are the two things that really, really end up keeping me alive.
You're starting to sound more like a hippie than I am.
And so, like, if you believe in anything, you believe in the sun and the moon. That's how I've always looked at it. With that being said, I'm blessed that I get to see this sun every day. I'm blessed that I get to walk outside. Now, I don't feel this blessing every fucking day. I'm a human being. I feel depressed as shit. I could be depressed as shit tomorrow. I don't fucking know. It just depends on how my fucking dreams go this evening. But with that being said, like, I try to remember, regardless that I am depressed, regardless that I am sad, regardless life is throwing me every curveball, I try to remember that I'm thankful that I get to wake up, that I get to see this fucking sun again. And that's pretty goddamn awesome.
Yeah.
I get to laugh at another funny internet video. I get to fucking go hang out with my girlfriend. I get to go play with boobs if I get to have sex. That's twice I've brought up boobs in this kind of podcast. But anyways, but my point is, I'm just thankful that I get to wake up. I get to talk to my man, Jake. I get to pet my cats. I get to eat a delicious cheeseburger. I get to do all these things. And I'm so happy for that.
I bought a, for the new year, I bought a planner.
Okay.
It's called a smart planner. It's just a planner, but it's got cool features. Um, you might not be able to see, but um,
Okay. We won't be
yeah, you
able to
can't
see, but
see.
just kind of give an idea of it.
Well, under each day, there's a spot for you to write um what you're grateful for. And so I've been writing stuff down the last few days on just, and it just like, I'll just write a different thing down for each day. So that way I'm like, I see it and I'm like, all right, be thankful and be grateful for this said thing. And
Right.
today, today's great gratitude was for food. I'm
There you
grateful
go.
that I don't go hungry. You know, I
Right.
have the funds to be able to buy food. And I have the means to be able to grow my own food if I wanted to. I choose not to, but I want to make that transition to start growing my own food. So that way I can be even more grateful for that, because then it's like, you know, I put my hard work into that. And, you know, but anyway, so it's cool. It's a cool planner, man. Um, you can set 3 priorities for your day, and then at the end of each week, there's a week review that you can write a score for the week. There's a section for the victories that you've had that week, and then
Mm-hmm.
a section for what you want to improve from that week going on to the next week.
Yeah, keep filling that out every day, brother.
Yeah,
That's actually an amazing thing. I
I'm
think
I'm
everybody needs
trying
that.
to.
Right, you should. And if you forget a day, write it down beforehand and just try to remember what you were thankful for that day, and
Yep.
so on and so forth. I think everybody needs something like that. I
Yeah.
think that's why people like myself get depressed. I'm pretty sure that's probably why you get depressed. We don't not it's not like we don't keep ourselves busy, but it's those points that we forget about. And if you're sitting there daily in a calendar or a journal thankful for food, a shower, whatever the situation might be, I think that we would be a lot better off mentally.
Right.
And that goes into play with the meditation and walking. You know,
Right. And that's big on meditation, is like we don't take the time to take a step back and let our brain just do its thing, instead of thinking specifically about this or that and moving on from this thing to that thing to the other
right?
thing. Like, we don't, most people don't take the time to just take a step back, relax, let your thoughts run its course. A great way that I saw visualized by this was there's this Netflix thing about meditating that they just came out with. The first episode talks about a way to visualize it is visualize you sitting down on the side of the road. All the cars going by are your thoughts. Now you can
That's a
choose.
100% correct. That's exactly, dude.
You can choose.
I'm proud as fuck of you right now. That's exactly what when I first started meditating. That's exactly how they explained it to me. Go ahead though. I love
Yeah.
that you're saying this. I love this. Go ahead.
Um. So you can either choose to try to get in front of one of those cars and stop it, which you're not going to, or you can chase down one of those cars and forever be chasing that car forever. Or
Or
you can
yeah.
sit on the side of the road and let the cars go by. You don't try to stop them. You don't try to chase them. You just listen to the sound of them go by. You just see them come and go. You just let it happen, and you don't try to control the flow of the cars. You just let the cars do their thing, and
hundred
that's
percent.
that's that's a way that you can meditate.
Now,
I'm
when Jake says this, and then you hold on. When Jake says this, okay, somebody's probably thinking, "Oh, well, easier fucking said than done." My mind races all the time, buddy. My mind does too, and
right.
it actually does fucking work. You just have to practice it, and
You
it's not
don't.
going to
Well,
work day 1, 2, or 3 or 4.
you're not trying to
Sometimes it takes a
stop your
week.
brain from racing. You're trying to just let
Right.
your brain race without trying to control it. And
Exactly.
when you get to the point, you'll realize that you can't stop thoughts. But what you can do is not let those thoughts control the way you dictate the world around you, the life.
100%. 110 fucking percent. I agree. And like I said, it's still easier said than done. But if you sit there and practice it every day, it's like that golden rule that your dad used to tell you, or your mom, or whoever the fuck it was. And I know it's stupid, and it's probably stupid for me to say it, but it still makes sense. Practice makes fucking perfect.
Right.
Okay. I agree with that 100% because I was watching a movie the other day. It was called Love and Monsters. Pretty good damn movie. Um, but they were doing like a 7-year flashback. First year, he's drawing for his girlfriend, draws some weird ass noodle looking lady. Okay. We fast forward 7 years. He's been practicing his drawing. The motherfucker's amazing at it. So
Right.
I think of that solely right there. Like you sit there as a 30-year-old man. If you want to sit there and start trying to fucking slam dunk basketball hoops, you better go out there and practice it. And you better practice till perfect. And that's the thing I think that's hard for a lot of people, and including myself. I want to be a pro today. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
I want to be Bob fucking Ross painting mountains right now, today, at this moment. But nobody thinks about how they got there.
Right.
They just see right then. You know what I mean? But going on into the new year and talking about that, do you have any? Let's go into this question. Do you have any New Year's memories that you have? Any time
Um.
that you got completely fucked up, or something like that?
So this past year, um, for 2020 into 2021, I just hung out at the house. My girlfriend has COVID, so we couldn't go do anything like we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we just sat around the house, and I drank some vodka and pineapple juice mixed
All
drinks,
right.
and we watched some X Files as always. We watched some of the Times Square thing, which was god awful. I will say the whole thing was a Planet Fitness ad.
It's just
It
like every
was.
fucking year, though. Just every year. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't do too much this year. I actually myself. It's kind of crazy. Me and my girlfriend were hanging out. We bought a bottle of Jack. She had a long day because she actually ended up having to work, but I was waiting for her to get home. We rushed to the liquor store, or the spirits store, however you want to call
Oh,
it.
spirits. Yeah.
Yeah, wine and spirits.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, we ended up just picking up a bottle of Jack, which neither one of us ever fucking drink, but like we just decided, all right, Jack Daniels. So,
Some Jack D.
mm-hmm. So I ended up mixing a Jack and Coke. That got me pretty toasty. After that, me and her ended up just having a couple shots. She's sitting there thinking, "Oh God, why the fuck did I get this? This is not good." I said, "It'll be good here after a couple more shots. You'll be all right here in a minute."
You won't care
But
anymore. But
right, but we ended up doing that. She started feeling sloshed after like 3 shots, I think it was, and so we were ready to go home. And it's only 10:30, so mind you, we're just at her mom's house, which is literally just a fucking
uh, uh,
200 step walk.
yeah,
You
like a
know?
quarter block.
Yeah. So we ended up walking home. She goes and falls asleep and relaxes. I stay up till about 11:45. Started falling my head down around midnight, and that was literally my year. I did not do shit this year,
Yeah.
so
The
I don't
last
care.
the last 4 years, I've went out of town for New Year's.
Okay,
Um, Last year I went to Columbus to go see Papadocio, and then the 3 years prior I went to Nashville
to see Papadosia.
to see Papadocio.
Okay, all right. Nothing wrong with
um,
that. That's
it's
awesome.
it's I was definitely bummed that I couldn't do that again this year. It's nice ringing in the new year surrounded by a bunch of fucked up hippies that all are just like happy to be around each other. So
Right.
it's cool. It's
I can
fun.
imagine
Yeah.
the ambiance. It's like that's a small serotonin right there. You know what I mean? So
Big serotonin.
big, yeah, not small,
Probably,
big
probably because of the chemicals digested or ingested that then
throughout that whole evening.
causes your brain to release more serotonin. Probably more than
Right,
it probably should, but
right. But it's New Year's.
it's New
No, I
Year's.
can't.
There's
I
nothing wrong
can't
with that.
remember. Right. I can't remember the last one I personally had. I think so. I mean, I get drunk every fucking year, you know. That's about it. I really didn't get drunk this year, but I remember one memorable one. And this was it was very near and dear to me at the time. I think about it now and I don't see any of these people besides you. It was New Year's Eve, I think like 2013 or 14. We had a bunch of friends that we used to work with at Chipotle that came over for a New Year's Eve party.
Were we were in our Walnut Hills apartment?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, we were. So
Yeah.
I remember. I think this was the same night, if I'm not mistaken. But we all tie dyed T-shirts,
Okay.
and we were all, smoking, drinking, chilling, whatever. But I remember at midnight, I kissed everybody. Yes, I don't want to say that, but for the viewers at home, all right. But I remember I kissed everybody, man and woman, at that party at midnight. I kissed Jake. I kissed his woman at the time. I kissed a couple people from Chipotle. You know, it was just I didn't care. I felt that I was around so much love, and it felt so good. And that was basically the biggest serotonin that I can remember in my life so far. Besides, like, dropping acid. I think my first time, that was an amazing experience. But yeah, I just remember that New Year's Eve because I was around people, and like, you have those moments, and I think everybody has those moments when, like, you stop and you look at life just for a second, and you look at everybody smiling and laughing, and you just feel humbled. And I
Um.
remember having that feeling very
So
much so.
Papadozio has a song, uh, that that reminisces what the feeling that you're talking about. Um. Let me see here. Oh yeah, it's called "Just Like the Days."
Okay,
Um. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull up the lyrics. Um. Uh. Time like rain over and under me, knows my name, still they came, no escape, so I thought, but I saw what I saw, it's so strange. And everything stopped for a minute, just like the days were the seconds. No escape, time will stay locked away, cannot change, but still they came. Overstate day to day, that we're not tied to fate, not too late. And everything stopped for a minute, just like the days were the seconds. Just like a dream was the essence, just like a new life it beckons. Everything stopped, everything all. I'm not lying, that is what I saw. Everything stopped, everything all. We're not dying. All is all is all is all.
okay.
So it's supposed to the lead singer
No,
talked
I
about it
get the lyrics.
um at a
Mm,
show. um this was a couple years ago at a festival. He talked about the lyrics and
okay.
how, like, for him it's about how, you know, there's those moments in life that you feel this feeling and you see this thing, and though no one else around you may be feeling or seeing that exact thing, you saw it and it was real to you. And in that moment, everything stopped and you realize that everything is everything and all is all is all. And you know that and experience it. And, you know, it's real to you. So it's real to everybody. Or, you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
It does. I get that 100%. I think
So,
I get it on his level because I've only had a couple moments like that in my life.
right.
And I try to cherish every single fucking one of those because when the earth, or when life, orbs, energy, however you want to look at it, when they give you that moment, I don't feel it's meant to be shared. I feel it's mainly for you. And when
Yeah.
that
Yep.
happens, when it happens, I feel that I don't know. When it happens, I feel personally that it was meant for you, and not only meant for you, you needed it in that time, and it's special. It's special for you to hold on to
Right.
because we only have so many memories in our banks. You know what I mean? So I try to hold on to the ones near and dear. And I think it's moments like that that everybody else in their lives, not just me, but you and probably other people, hold on to those in their memory banks as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
I try to not forgive. I try not to forget anything, but weed unfortunately takes a toll of that problem. So,
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
right.
Yeah. No, I
But
mean, for me, those moments are a reminder that the path you're on is
the right one,
the right one. I mean,
the chosen.
there is no wrong path in essence, because I don't necessarily believe in like predetermined destiny or whatever, but I do in some some ways. And by that I
Mm,
mean, you know, everything is made up of atoms and, energy, you know, and all of that is from the universe. Everything we see and taste and touch and feel is all created by the universe. And the universe started as a chain reaction of events, of chemicals interacting with each other that created stars and created the earth and then created life and created us, then created the internet and created the things we're
mm,
using to talk to each other through. Like, all of that is a chain reaction of different chemicals interacting with each other. And just like the car analogy from meditating, we can't stop the chain reaction of the events of the universe. We are just merely here to experience them. And so I don't think I think in some ways what we experience has always been what we were going to experience. Yes, we can make choices, but what led us to those choices were a set of chemical reactions in our brains that told us to think a certain way about something.
see that
Right?
when you
So
bring that
like
up, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so I mean, in a way, everything is building on the thing that happened before it, and so on and so on. And you know, and so when we experience moments like that, for me, it's a reminder that, hey, this whole kit and caboodle of this crazy universe world that we are experiencing, like that moment in time space was a moment in time space that I was supposed to experience.
100%. Now, see, when you come into that and you talk into the play of life and choices and how at the end of the day we end up and this endlessly end up at the same place where already end up meaning to go. Like you said, we have choices. And I think what I'm coming into that is one video game in particular that brings me into that thought process, and that's Heavy Rain. Heavy
Okay, yeah.
Rain was a game where you were a father. Some guy ended up snatching your kid off of a playground, and you had to make multiple choices on to get your daughter back. Obviously, all choices led to your daughter, but there was consequences within each choice. And
Right.
I feel that comes into the play of life. I feel that we have life, but at the end of the day, we're going to end up exactly where we're supposed to be. It's just the
Yes.
choices that you make in the middle, which create the consequences in the life story that you end up telling at the end of the road.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's some deep shit, bro.
it was some deep shit, wasn't it?
That's some deep shit, bro.
But
Man, you
anyways,
keep
let's.
saying you're not a hippie, but god damn.
That's fucking hilarious. True facts.
Facts. Spitting
Hippie
facts.
facts.
Yeah.
So Going on to, I believe, our final thing of this whole podcast is the one thing that I feel that people constantly fuck up on every single fucking year without fail, and that is resolutions. I never create them anymore myself personally because I always fail them. I feel that if I'm going to change something or adapt to something, I'm going to do it on my own accord. If I sit there and let a day control me, then I'm going to fail because I feel that I was controlled by something else other than my own intellect.
Right. Yeah.
That being said, I don't knock anybody that creates resolutions or creates change. Just
Right.
because I don't create it on the same day that you do, or you create it on a new year to start a new life, then, doesn't mean I hate on you or shit on you. For example, I say that now, but as a 30-year-old man walking 30 years of life and this, and my birthday being so close to the new year, I decided to make a lot of changes. I guess you'd call them resolutions, sure, and you'd probably call me
I think that's just a term to put on you having epiphanies. You know what I mean?
Probably. Yeah, I agree 100%. And with that being said, I personally think wherever you start, it doesn't matter the day. And I started personally on the first. I decided to try on the first. And with that being said, I changed a lot of things where I gave too much care about. For example, that was my prime problem. Is that anytime that like somebody was pissing me off or treating me like shit, I would still be that upper class citizen. I sorry about that, not a problem, completely my fault. And then like they won't say sorry or they won't say thank you or whatever the situation might be. You know what I'm saying? And that pisses me off. So I decided to change that. I'm not going to take nobody's bullshit. If you're going to sit there and you're going to be disrespectful to me, I'm going to be disrespectful to you because I'm tired of being fucking treated that way. When my heart's bigger than everybody else's and I just want to be a decent human being because I feel that people are, what's that term where people say like, treat somebody decently, open up a door for them, say please and thank you because you just never know what they're going through. Well, I agree with that, but I'm tired of agreeing with that, and I'm tired of those pricks just being pricks just to be a fucking prick. So fuck you. I'm going to destroy you if you start being a dick to me. I'm just done with it. You know what I mean?
I agree, and that's actually something I thought about too going into the new year. Was like, we have all these problems in the world, and I'm not going to sit here and say I have all the solutions, but one solution is for I don't know how long, but at least my whole life, we've let assholes just be assholes. We've let people take advantage of other people. We've let people just do and say dumb, fucked up shit and get away with it because we are afraid. We've been conditioned to be afraid of confrontation. We've been conditioned to to not confront bad things for the sake of not being disrespectful, right? And that ties into ideologies that our parents and our grandparents grew up with in society, like just like not talking about politics or religion, with your
Talk about
family.
it. And
Fucking
I
talk
think,
about it because it's important. And
mhm.
I'm going into 2021. I don't care about that respectful whatever. Don't, talk about politics and religion bullshit with people because that's why we're in the position we're in as a
Because we're not
society. It's
talking about shit.
because we're too afraid to confront the problems and actually say something and do something about it. So
Hmm.
I'm not putting up with it anymore.
Right. The
Absolutely
only thing,
not
the
anymore.
only thing I'm doing when I do have that debate or I have that argument, or if it's just straight up just beef, obviously I'll know how to destroy you and roast your ass if it's just beef and you're being disrespectful. But if it comes into politics or something along those lines, I'm going to make sure before I open my fucking mouth that I have all the correct facts before I fucking destroy you. And I
Right,
only
right.
want to do that. One, obviously, it's my ego. I just want to be right and I want to fucking stomp your ass with it. Number two, it's also to make sure that even though I'm destroying you, I'm also educating you as well. I'm making
Right.
sure that you understand what the fuck I'm talking about and why it's so adamantly important.
Yeah.
And I feel that comes with anything that you end up trying to fucking talk about or preach about. And that goes into anything. Like, I can sit here and debate somebody about movies and talk to them all day about movies, and I can have a common opinion with somebody and somebody disapprove my opinion or shit on my idea. That's fine.
Right.
We actually end up coming together at the end of it all, and we still talk about the movies. It should be as easy as talking about movies as it is about politics.
Yeah. Yep.
That's how I feel. I'm sitting there being a friend with somebody after I debate a movie. If I debate somebody about politics, fuck you, dude. I will not talk to you. Stick it up your fucking candy ass. I don't fucking care.
All right. This is where you kind of have to be nuanced with this idea, because for me personally, like, I want to try to, I don't want to say convert, but kind of convert. I want to try to at least lend a hand to the people who are being dumb or pieces of shit. I'm going to lend a hand to them and give them the opportunity
to change. Or to change their ideas or thoughts.
So I'm always going to approach, and I'm always going to initially approach the situation with a welcoming, right? But also I'm not gonna put up with you being
disrespectful
and unable to have a conversation without getting your ego all entangled into it. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what I'm talking about with politics. And like I said, it comes into politics. I can definitely talk about somebody, say, fuck you, I don't want to talk to you no more because you're sitting there thinking that way. And that's a part of the new year, what you're talking about. If I have a conversation with somebody about politics, first off, there's some people that you're just never going to change. It's just never going to fucking happen, and you're going to waste your breath. It's just going to happen that way. Number two, if you can have a debate with somebody and they can sit there and understand your ideas and ideologies, and you do the same thing for them, and you guys are still coming back where it's like, okay, well, he's still fucking right wing, I'm still left wing, but we came in a fucking middle and we understood some common ground. If you can do that, which is exactly what we need to do, there's not if you can do that, it's you need to do that, because we shouldn't be so socially divided by our ideas. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can believe whatever the fuck you want, but as long as we can sit here and have a conversation about it, and you can understand me as much as I can understand you, I'm going to give you a hug and I'm going to drink a fucking beer with you, and we're going to talk about something else. That's how I feel about it always. Or not always, because I did have those debates. I did have those arguments where I don't talk to nobody no more because, unfortunately, you won't change your ways, and anytime that we might talk, it just gets too fucking heated. Right. There's just times that happens. But that's why, like, again, 2021, that's a good way of looking at things, Jake. We need to fucking look at it where we can sit here and have this debate. I don't know everything. You don't know everything, but let's meet in that common ground to know everything.
Right.
That's what we fucking need.
And I'm always going to extend that hand, but if you whip your dick out and piss on my hand that I extended to you, well, I'm going to turn around and slap you with it.
That's a good way of looking at it, dude. You're about to get a wet piss face.
I pulled that out of my ass too, so
that was good. I liked it.
I'm proud of that analogy.
I am too.
Yeah, no, but I mean, let's say, for instance, you come across somebody who's like, I don't support Black Lives Matter, and here's why. They go on to say they're not racist, they don't hate black people, but they hate the movement or whatever. Well, I'm going to be like, all right, well, let me try to explain to you why the movement is important. You know what I mean? And I hope that you will have an open mind in understanding why it is important, right? But if they just refuse to believe it, then I'm going to be like, well, why do you believe that? Like, you should maybe question your inherent racism. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you don't want to agree that you're racist, but maybe you are
racist. Yeah,
you know what I mean? And and so that's kind of where I'm going to use as an example to draw my distinction. Like, yeah, I'm going to extend my hand to you in hopes that you will, try to understand and learn. But if you're just unwilling, then I'm not going to put up with it.
Right. 100% agree. And it's unfortunate that It's unfortunate that we have to
It's
still have that issue.
2021 and we still have to do this. Yeah.
You know, and what's worse is we have people that were born in the 1940s. Okay, let's just put it that way, and let's just say that's grandma and grandpa. Unfortunately,
They're
we're
running
still
our
living
government.
right. Well, not only that, we're still living in a world where there's a 13 or 14-year-old, kid that adores grandma and grandpa and hangs on to their every word. And
Right.
now they're growing up racist. You're not born into racism. You know what I'm saying? You're taught racism.
Right.
And that's
Right.
the
Yeah.
unfortunate part is that you have people 14, 15, 16-year-old, fuck a mask, Trump 2020, whatever the fuck it might be, and it's hard. And we're going to always have that world until we completely wean out people of that mindset. We're always going to have that kind of world where people are so divided like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Because like I said, grandma and grandpa are teaching their teenagers, their grandkids that shit.
Right. Yeah.
But not all. I'm not going to say there's not 60, 70-year-old people that are fucking not with the Black Lives Matter protests, that are not with Trump. I see plenty of older folks that understand how corrupt that motherfucker was, and support,
It still
all
is.
lives.
You hear the recent thing about what he said?
I heard that he threatened, I believe, the Georgia governor or some shit, didn't he? Like a fucking idiot
On
over the
tape.
phone. Yeah.
Recorded.
Dude, it's like you're worse than Watergate, dog, and Watergate was one fucking thing.
Yeah. Right.
This motherfucker's multiple. And like he's sitting there pawning out his fucking frat boy buddies out of jail right before he leaves office.
Yeah, that's really fucked because there's some people who deserve to be in jail that he's actually letting out. Whereas usually, like, the president pardons somebody who, like, shouldn't have been in
wrongly
jail.
accused, right?
You know what I mean? Like,
So, and not only that, so I don't know this exact law.
and cronies,
this is something,
bro.
Right? Before
Fucking
you
cronies.
before you go fucking shitting on me or anything like this, last thought of the day on this whole thing. President Trump signed some kind of fucking bill that's going to pass in 2022, I believe is the year. And that's going to raise taxes for the fucking poor. You can go look it up. It's fucking passed already. And I forget all the details of it, but we will be taxed higher because of this bill. People don't see this shit. I sent this direct article on the New York Times to a Trump supporter. Fake news. Immediately.
Oh,
you're gonna tell me New York Times is fake news? Are you fucking kidding me?
Okay, so there's times where they are very obviously leaning a certain way politically.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's true, and also it's done purposefully so that way when Biden does take office, and that happens during his presidency,
they're gonna blame that motherfucker.
Exactly. It's a fucking game.
It really is.
What we need to do is realize that we can turn the tide of the game if we just stop playing it.
We really could. I see so many people that say stop. So people have talked about are on Facebook. Right now, what's going on? I believe it's in India where they're doing a work strike where there's over 120,000 people not working, striking. They don't give a fuck. But it's if the whole world came together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If the United States, for the United States alone, if we just did not pay taxes, if we could get a group of a lot of people just not to pay fucking taxes and that actually happened, that would start some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And going on to fucking taxes, oh my God, I'm already pissed. The motherfuckers, and I'm just going to keep saying Trump supporters, the motherfuckers that sit there and say, oh, them goddamn motherfuckers that, take my fucking money off of my taxes, them people that are just sitting there on welfare taking my fucking money. Look at your taxes, you fucking idiot. 4% of your taxes come out for welfare, you fucking moron.
The rest goes to line those people that you line the pockets of those people that you support for no fucking reason. They're robbing you blind, and you are fucking too stupid to realize it.
Exactly.
I had this big argument last week, I think. I came home. I had a drink too after I got off work, and I was just like, I was feeling it, and I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna stop paying my taxes. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
Right.
What are they gonna do? They're gonna show up at my door. You Jacob Hess? Nope. I ain't never heard that name before in my life. You
Close
must
the
have the
door.
wrong house.
All right.
You got a warrant to come in? I don't
Oh
know who
no.
you are.
Well then, fuck off.
Fuck off. That's right.
I
What are
agree
you gonna start
100%.
garnishing my wages? What if I take it cash? Then what? Then what are you gonna do? How are you gonna get your taxes in?
Right.
You're not going to. What are you gonna do? You're gonna come after me, some guy that pays $18,000 a year in taxes. That's who you're coming after. Why don't you go after the guy who's not paying his $1 million taxes that he owes? You know what I mean?
Right. No,
What are you really
100%.
gonna do
Look,
though?
it's so shitty, and they just they
Got
lean on the
everybody
stupid.
scared. Yes, they
Yeah, they
got.
lean on the stupid. They do. We're all stupid. I'm stupid. You're fucking stupid. We're all stupid to them. We're all fucking stupid because we don't. But once I think, okay, so once all those stupids rise the fuck up, it's going to be a totally different ball game. Every time I think about money and the world right now, I think of one movie, Elysium. Do you remember that movie with Matt Damon, where the fucking rich are living above everybody else and the peasants are basically living in 10 fucking boxes at the bottom? That's what I feel. And they got tired of that shit. And what the fuck happened? They destroyed the fucking rich world.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Well, all right. This goes back to what I was saying in another episode. Entropy. There cannot be infinite growth. There can't be infinite profits. All of that will collapse. The US dollar is losing its value every single day. It's worth less and less and less. Eventually, the dollar is not going to be worth anything. Eventually, our entire economy, not just the US economy, the entire global economy will collapse because you can't grow infinitely. It's impossible. It defies the laws of physics. It's not possible. It will collapse.
Mm-hmm.
I think in our lifetime.
Probably.
So what's the point? Here's what I say. Why should I pay taxes then? If everything that I'm paying taxes for is just going to crumble in my lifetime, what's the point?
Well,
Am I ever going to see that social security that I'm paying taxes for?
probably not.
Exactly.
Or if you do, not much.
But well, here's the thing. We're paying taxes for X amount of dollars for our social security or whatever. But in the future, when we go to get that social security, how much is that worth then? It's going to be worth nothing.
Not even close to what you were when you were making.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So what's the point? Why pay taxes then?
Right.
And really,
100%.
what are you going to do? You're going to come get me? You're going to come get me?
Right.
You're going to come into my house and drag me out? Try stepping foot in my house without a warrant. See what happens. You'll be shot fucking dead on the doorstep.
That's how I feel about it, dude. And with taxes, you're basically working for taxes. You're making next to no money because it's going out in your taxes.
And then what do I see from it?
You know what you see? See, this is the downfall. And this is where I try to remember that I want to enjoy my fucking life. The government's going to keep fucking me till the day I die. It's more than likely going to happen, okay? Unless the revolution fucking starts.
Unless we just stop letting them. That's the thing.
But,
we let them. I know. Them.
But the problem is we're not unified as one. Once we become unified as a group, then something will change. But until then, it's not going to fucking happen. So for the example that it probably won't fucking happen, I'm going to sit there. I'm going to get fucking old. I'm going to be taxed all this fucking money. And at the end of the day, I worked my life away to pay for government funding. That's literally it. You're going to, and going back onto what I was
My
saying,
money went
that's
to
why,
dropping bombs on brown people in poorer countries over the world.
right? And not only fucking that, and that's what I'm getting at about this. It's like I'm probably going to be close to broke the rest of my life. If I get successful, awesome. I'm not going to be broke anymore.
Crypto.
Right. I hear you. I hear you. But I'm just making this point. When you sit here and you work every day like you do, and we're kind of slaves to the system. We really fucking are. When you work every day you do, I'm damn sure, you best be damn sure that I'm going to spend my money on video games, on pot, on fucking memorabilia, shit that when I walk into my door, I'm so fucking happy to see. Because that's the only thing that makes me content in life. And that's shitty that you have to go and end up using the hard-earned money that you had, which you should have more because the taxes are so fucking high. But the hard-earned money that you do have, and you end up being broke basically week to fucking week, you have stuff that makes you happy. And that's the one thing, if you take out anything, if the world doesn't change, take out that one thing that I'm saying right now. Make sure you make yourself fucking happy. Because it is really hard in this life to live anything else but that. Because, what is it? Fucking suicide rate is up to 90 goddamn percent. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 90 fucking percent. And that's obviously because you're fucking staying at home constantly every day. You're probably having fights with fucking loved ones constantly every day. Your fucking mental status is not there anymore. So, like, going into all this, man, this is why we do need to fight. So you're not sitting there every fucking day being happy walking into a door after you're sloshed, your back hurts, your legs hurt, your body hurts. Look at other fucking countries. Look at them. Look at the paid time off for fucking pregnant women. Look at the fucking vacation time. Look at the fucking hours. Look at everything. And then talk to me about a great fucking country that we're living in. Fuck that. I don't live in a great country. I don't. Am I proud to be an American? Yeah, I'll say that. I'm not proud of how they treat their American fucking people.
Right.
Period. There's people that come
They
from
don't
fucking third world countries.
they don't view us as people, they view us as assets.
Right.
We are worth money. We are worth the work that we put in to raise taxes for. That's what the government
That's literally
views
our
us.
job.
We are tax generators.
And this goes into the Trump supporters. I really hope that I get a Trump supporter listening to this fucking podcast. And maybe they'll have a different open mind or a different value or mindset of where the fuck we're coming from as people. Maybe they'll see a different light from the way that we've experienced it or the way that we talk about it. That's what I hope. I hope that I at least just reach one fucking person with my opinion and my heartfelt feelings about this world and what we live in today. Like I said before in another podcast, I'm not the smartest person. I'm a very dull nail in the shed. But at the end of the day, I try to learn everything and I question everything because I am so scared of this fucking world and what they do to us blatantly with our eyes literally open. Our eyes are opened and we're still getting fucked with no goddamn spit.
No spit.
Now I'm angry. I was going off of a happy rant. Now I'm pissed. But I'm pissed for a reason. But I'm also happy because the way that I'm portraying this, I'm not the smartest person, like I said, and I'm portraying it pretty goddamn well. I'm saying exactly how I want to say it, and I just hope that it does reach somebody because I said it so eloquently that it makes complete fucking sense. So, yeah, if you take anything off of this, just take what the fuck we have said throughout this whole podcast. Have an amazing fucking year. Treat yourself to everything that you fucking possibly can. I don't give a fuck what it is. I love every single one of you, and I just want you to have your minds opened. I want you to have your third eye opened a little bit so you can realize what the fuck is going on in the world around you with your fucking eyes opened.
Amen, brother.
Thank you.
Amen. On that note, man, I think we're gonna leave it off, man. We had a great episode of.
I'm so happy with this episode. I'm ready to edit it already. I'm very happy right now. This was a good one, dude.
Yeah. Thank you guys, man, for all you guys tuning in. From our previous episodes, we had a great end to our 2020. I know we're both extremely excited to get this year rolling and keep pushing all of this content. Shit off our chest because
yes,
we got a lot to say, and as you can see, we can keep going. There's a lot to say.
It really is.
But to lead us into 2021, just be grateful for what you have. Be kind to the people around you, and try to create a more positive world for you and everyone else. And as if we all do that by coming together, talking about our ideas, we can really make a change.
100% agreed. And on that last note, so beautiful again. That's two podcasts in. You had something so beautiful to say at the end, and I'm just ruining it by my
No,
speech.
you're not ruining it.
Thank you. Anyways, one thing I want to say was a big thank you to every Blasphemous review, or Blasphemous podcast listener. What would you call them? Do we have a name for our listeners yet? Do you have a
I don't
nickname?
know.
I don't know, but anyways,
Blasphemous crew.
Right, and I want to explain something to you guys that is really near and dear to my heart. So, October 31st of 2020 was the first release of our episode, episode 1. To me, since then, I keep up with the algorithm. I look at everything. Since then, with episode, what is this, episode 10 or 11? Is this 11?
This is 11
now. This is 11 now. Going on to episode 10, I looked last night or today, I can't remember. We are up to 207 views on all of the episodes. That's not a lot to probably fucking Joe Rogan experience, obviously, but that's 207 listens in its entirety. I don't know all 207 listeners. I don't know who's listened to it. I'm just appreciative of every single one of you, because what I see was, when I was in episode 1 and I only saw, 33 views. Oh, that's awesome. And then it would decline on the next episode. And then it would, it would raise on the other one, and so on and so forth. I'm just so happy that I have somebody constantly coming in and listening to us do what we love. And the content is only going to get better. We're only going to gain experience with time. And like, for example, episode 11, this one right here, it blew my fucking socks out the water. A lot of this was off the rip, but a lot of it was off the heart too. So with that being said, I appreciate and I love every single one of you that are listening. Thank you so much. You're what drive my ass to come here, make sure I have internet, to do everything I need to do to make sure that this is released to you guys. So thank you so much. Please keep listening. We have more content every fucking week for you. And video content is yet to be here, but it will definitely be here. We have the podcast, but I'm talking about other content besides that. So Thank you for listening. I love every single one of you with everything in my heart. Please keep listening. Just keep enjoying our content. If you have anything to say to us, please don't forget to say it to us. Throw it on our Facebook page. Throw it on our Instagram page. Make sure that we know, because if something's bothering you, or if we said something fucked up or you didn't like it, let us know. We are not going to get hurt. I want your feedback 110% of the time.
Yep.
So, all right.
Love
That's
you
all
guys.
I got to say. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
See you then.